Well, alright, now welcome back to the channel. It's another recipe idea today. Now, there's nothing better after you're done out cutting a bunch of firewood and come home starving than a nice steak dinner, right? So, this is something that I make all the time, whenever I have steak, that is, and fresh produce. But anyways, now, we're going to be making some steak with a baked potato and a little vegetable side dish, some stir-fried zucchini and mushrooms and onions. Now, my mom used to make that zucchini and mushroom and onion dish all the time, so I really like it. I'm going to pass it on, and I got basically everything you need out here to make this dish now, so let's just go over it here. I'll just bring y'all over here and show you. How about that now? So, obviously, I got a drink, a cold one, because you gotta have that. And if anybody wants a koozie out there in YouTube land, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to send you one if you're in the continental United States. You know what I'm saying? So here's our steak now, and this is just it's a flat iron steak. My grocery store was running low on meat today, so I just grabbed this, and it's a pretty nice looking piece of meat. Anything will work, so don't feel bad. You can make a ribeye, a New York strip, a T-bone, whatever you got. Just make a steak, and I like to use a cast iron skillet now. It's something about using that cast iron with a nice steak. You don't have to use a cast iron for the steak, but I really like using the cast iron skillet there. So the steak will go in the cast iron, and I got some zucchini and some mushrooms and a Vidalia sweet onion and some olive oil, and this is a potato express there, and I really like that thing a lot for making quote baked potatoes. I throw them in the microwave for about 4 minutes. I wash them and I leave them wet so there's some steam in that bag, and it makes a really nice potato. I mean, it's, when you consider baking a potato can take, 45 minutes in the oven, 4 minutes, that thing is very similar. As long as you don't overcook them and they start shriveling up, that steam in there helps them, and just don't overcook them. About 4 minutes for a big potato, and it'll come out really nice. Let me get going on this, on prepping this up. I'm going to cut up this zucchini, cut up that onion. The steak is good to go. It's just a piece of meat. Now, I did marinate that steak. I used some Montreal seasoning and a little Worcestershire sauce, and it's been in there all day marinating. Montreal seasoning is what I used today. So that's been marinating. It adds a lot of flavor, really helps it out a lot. Let me get this stuff cut up and all ready and get my meal prep ready, and then we'll just throw it in there and saute it, and we'll get going. Now, those are the basic ingredients. You will need a little butter, a little soy sauce, a little Lowry's seasoning, and we'll probably get into that here shortly. So let's get this stuff cut up and move on. All right, we got that stuff all sliced up there, nice, and so now I'm just going to add a little olive oil to these pans and get it ready. The pans are already nice and hot, so I like to cook that steak in some olive oil and also these vegetables. So we'll add a little olive oil, and then we're going to just throw the onions in and get those cooking. And just give those a minute to caramelize a little bit, and then I'll throw in the zucchini now, and I also have my mushrooms over here. We're going to throw those in. The only thing with this is these mushrooms are going to release a lot of water, so I'll probably have to remove the water out of this pan because I don't like it to turn into a soupy, watery mess. So we'll do that here after it gets cooking. Okay, those onions have a little bit of color on them. I'm going to go ahead and throw my mushrooms in there because these things need to reduce and get all that water out of them, like I said. So we'll get that going now. And I'm going to go ahead and throw my steak in my cast iron pan now. It's really not a big deal to do these steaks. It takes about 4 minutes aside. And I would say maybe if you had like a filet mignon or a really thick steak, that's a good thing about cast iron. If you wanted to cook it and sear it on each side for a few minutes, you could then throw it in the oven and bake it for about 20 minutes, and you get a more even cook out of that. So that's a good thing about using the cast iron now. So we got the steak going. I'm going to set a timer for 4 minutes on that side, and then we'll flip that steak, and meanwhile we'll be working with these vegetables over here. And I do need to get a baked potato out and wash that and get that in the bag and get ready to bake my potato. Alright, now I got this potato rinsed. I just grabbed a potato. It's nothing special. I didn't grab a nice one for YouTube. It's kind of got a weird shape to it. So in the bag it goes. And we'll put that in there for 4 minutes and get that started. There we go. Alright, now the potato's going. I'm going to go ahead and throw my zucchini in here. And we will add a little garlic in here in just a minute, right before it's done. Right before I put some soy sauce in, I'll put some garlic in there. So get that zucchini cooking now. So here's our garlic and our butter. We'll add that here shortly, and I'm going to go ahead and season this with some Lowry salt. That's the way my mom used to do it. So we'll put Lowry's in here. You could put your favorite seasoning, whatever it is. You could probably use Cajun seasoning or whatever you like, but the Lowry's is really good, and some soy sauce I put on there here in a minute. You can maybe even put a little bit of garlic powder if you wanted to, but I'm going to put regular garlic in. It'll be just fine. It's just nice, tasty vegetables is all it is, so that's not a big deal. Alright, so everything is going really nice. We got the steak cooking, the potato, everything's going. I'll check back in here shortly. All I'm going to do is flip that steak after 4 minutes. And then here, after this releases a little bit of water, I'll add the soy sauce and some butter and some garlic onto that. One thing I do want to mention is I have this lid, and I just kind of set this on that pan, but I'm not covering up the entire pan. The only reason I'm using a lid is because this splatters. There's olive oil all over the stove, and when it mixes with water and stuff, it pops and goes everywhere. So don't cover your steaks when you're cooking them. You'll end up with braised steak. Braised. You don't want to braise your steaks. You want to get a nice caramelization on them. So if you trap all that steam in there, it'll braise them. You won't get that caramelization and that nice charred steak that you're looking for. So if you see me with this cover on, it's only just kind of halfway sitting on the pan. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm not putting it on completely. I just kind of cover it up so it doesn't splatter. That's all that's for now. Everything else is going good. I'm just waiting for this to release a little bit of water because if I put the soy sauce in first and then it releases all the water, then all you do is you scoop all your soy sauce out and get rid of it. So I was going to wait for it to release the water and then season it with the soy sauce with some nice flavor. So if this releases a bunch of water, we'll be draining that off shortly, and everything else is going along fine. Okay, I got my potato done, and I cut it in half and just kind of sliced it into sections there. There was a couple bad spots in it. I cut those out there right over here, just some black spots and what have you. We're going to add a little butter to that and get everything, get the vegetables seasoned up now. So here we go with that. I know this camera's far away, but you can see it. This is the only view that I have in my kitchen here. So, all right, now we got the potatoes done. I'm just gonna rub a little butter on them here. Give them a little butter flavor. All right, like that. Okay, now I also want to put a little butter on my steak while it's in here and let that melt over top of my steak. So it's time to go ahead and season these up a little bit now. Today I did not end up with a bunch of water. Now that may be due to the fact that the mushrooms were very clean this time that I got from the store. A lot of times the mushrooms will have a bunch of black dirt and crap all over them, so I rinse them in a strainer, and the mushrooms are wet with water. And that may be where a lot of that water comes from sometimes. Today it wasn't too bad. It all evaporated off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw a little garlic in there, and then we'll season this up with some soy sauce and add some butter into that here before it's done too. Don't forget that. And that's pretty much it for the vegetables now. So we got those going. Soy sauce, they're all seasoned up good. They're not too wet with water. Like I said, I'll throw a little bit of butter in here right before they're done and add some butter onto these puppies. And we're getting close already. Everything's moving really fast. You ever start cooking and realize everything's moving fast and the steak's burning and you're not done and you're not ready? And that's where I'm at right now. Everything just started hitting all at once. I got all kinds of stuff to do. So here's some sour cream for my potato. Now the next thing I do with these potatoes is add a little salt and a little bit of cheese. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here, but this is just that's some kosher salt. We'll put that, sprinkle a little bit of that on there, and go ahead and sprinkle a little bit on the steak as well. Now these have plenty of salt. Between the Lowry salt and the soy sauce, they should have plenty of salt now, so we're good there. I am going to add a little bit of pepper onto these things. So we'll put some fresh ground pepper in here. So there's that. And next with my potatoes, just throw a little cheddar cheese on them. That's what I like to do. We'll throw some cheddar cheese on these things and put them back in the microwave for a minute and melt that cheese and put some sour cream on them. And I like these a lot. They're really good. So there's our cheddar cheese. And back in the microwave the potatoes go, just to melt that cheese for 1 minute. And I'm going to put this little cover on. I use these covers all the time. This is really good, a really neat deal for your microwave. Just covers up, keeps everything from splattering. It also keeps steam in for like this. When you have a potato, you don't want it to dry out. It kind of keeps some of the moisture in there. So give that a minute. And everything's about done here now. I might as well be doing this video live for you guys the way things are going. I'm just having to kind of cook and do it as I go right now. This butter is melting. This probably isn't the best thing to do, but I'm going to flip this steak over one more time because it's getting too done on the other side there. So anyways, melt a little butter on that. There we go. And I'm turning the power off on the steak. It is done. It's been cooking. Now let's add a little butter into these vegetables here. All right, folks. Woo! Things got moving a little fast on me there. I know I'm just kind of all over. I hope you're following me here. You can follow it. It's not really that hard. I mean, stir fry some vegetables, add some soy sauce, some Lowry salt, a little butter, a little garlic, and you know, fry up a steak in a pan with some olive oil, and you're good to go. So here's our mashed potatoes. Doesn't that look delicious? We'll put some sour cream on that. I'm going to put the sour cream over here on the table. And I'll just give you a shot of it when it's done. We're just about done now. Okay, I know we've been all over the place, but I'm just going to go ahead and dish this up and move over to the table. If you like this video, if you enjoy the recipes, subscribe to the channel. Realize that I do a lot of variety. The main thing I do is firewood and outdoor nature content type of stuff. I do some recipe ideas. I like the cooking. I like the good food. So I like to show the things that I like to eat a lot. But we're going to move on over here to the table, and you go ahead and get to subscribing, and I'll take care of the rest. So here's what we've got now. We've got some nice potatoes that are looking good and melty. And here's our little vegetable medley that it's going to be on the side. As soon as that butter's done melting, we're going to be good there. And our steak is finishing up here, and it's nice and plump. There's still a lot of juicy meat in the middle there, not overdone. So give me 1 second and I'll show you what it looks like when we're ready to eat it. All right, everybody, I don't know if I'm in the picture. I'm trying to be, but this is a little tip. I just wanted to show y'all how to clean up a cast iron pan when you're done. If you're new to cast iron or whatever, you might not know this. It's a little bit confusing at first. If you're experienced, you already know this, but as soon as you're done cooking, when the pan's still hot, I like to take some nice hot water like this, get it running nice and hot. It seems to work better when it's hot. And this stuff will come right off of here. So just take that hot water, and you can see all that stuff from my steak left in there, that seasoning. And just scrub that right off with a little scraper. And if you don't have a scraper, that's probably okay. You can still get it done with a rag or a paper towel. But now I just take a rag with not really much soap on it at all. It helps to have a rag that you're not going to stain. And I just kind of wipe it around to wipe the residue off of it there. You know, not much, just enough to kind of get the rest of that baked on steak off of there. And you can see it's looking pretty good like that. Now just dry that off and set it back on a warm burner while you're eating food, and let it heat back up again. And rub a little bit of olive oil on there on a lint-free cloth. And that's all you got to do to keep this thing seasoned. I just take it and put it right back on the burner. So while I'm eating my dinner or whatever, I'll just put this on like a really low heat, like a medium low, whatever. I got it on 2.5 there. And that'll just kind of heat back up while I'm eating. And I got a rag that I keep in here just for the steaks. I got this is actually a COVID mask. Believe it or not, it's lint-free. So that was some type of COVID mask that I had, and I just soak that in olive oil, and it stays wet. And really, you don't hardly even have to put more in. I just rub that on, and it puts a nice residue of olive oil in there. That's all I do. And if I need to add a little tiny bit, just the size of a dime or a nickel or a quarter or something, just a drop is all you need, and enough to make it shiny. You're only looking to make it shiny. You don't want to really coat it and get it, because it'll get all sticky and thick, and lint and crap starts sticking all over it. So just enough to make it shiny, and then I'll heat it up again till it starts smoking, and you're good to go. Sometimes I will throw the cast iron pan in my oven. I can slide this handle right off of here, and sometimes when it's still hot after I put oil on it, I'll just open up my oven and slide it in there on that top rack. And then the next time you cook in your oven or whatever, it'll season automatically. I mean, if your oven gets hot, you're cooking for 10, 12 minutes or something, you can just leave that cast iron pan in there, and it'll heat it up again and help with the seasoning process. And it's just a good place to keep it, to cool it down, keeps the lint off of it and everything. So sometimes I throw it in the oven too. But anyways, let me get moving on with my food. I need to eat some dinner here, and I'm just going on and on about cast iron pans now. Well, all right, I got this steak dinner all ready to go now, and you can see what it looks like. It's pretty nice. So that's my dinner for tonight. I hope you all enjoyed that. You know, that's a good little recipe, especially, you know, if you're a single man, whatever you are, you're a college student, boy or girl, you're just learning to cook, you need a nice meal, this is a great thing to do. You don't have to fire up the grill, you don't have to have access to a grill, mess with all that mess and everything. You can just do it in a cast iron pan, or really any pan. Like I said, you can use any pan to cook that steak. It's just something about cooking a steak in a cast iron pan that I really like. So it's just a nice thing to do. It's a cold winter day, there's snow on the ground outside, it's 15 degrees, you know. It might actually be hotter than that right now, but anyways, I don't want to go outside and mess with all that. You can stay right in here in your kitchen and make a nice steak dinner, and it's very good. So anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed it.